60 million Americans will feel its power.
A magnitude 7.6 earthquake.
Tornadoes in Texas and Louisiana tearing through buildings, trees, and apartments.
One of the worst air qualities ever recorded.
In this documentary, we are going to discuss occupational therapy's role in natural disaster preparedness, response, and recovery. Natural disasters are defined as unpreventable catastrophic events caused by the natural process of the earth, which may be hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, earthquakes, fires, hazardous spills, volcanoes, extreme heat, lightning, tsunami, and wildfires.
Natural disasters are capable of affecting all communities and can result in death, loss, great financial burden, and cause extreme impairment to the lives of those affected. These impairments can leave many communities in unlivable conditions with limited access to food and water. These conditions can have long-term implications on mental and physical health. Notable natural disasters that have occurred are Hurricane Sandy and Katrina, the California wildfires, the Oklahoma City tornado, and the Haiti earthquake, all of which left their communities devastated.
Natural disasters have severe environmental and public health impacts on the communities they hit. The shock of natural disasters consume entire communities. The most prevalent issue is widespread mental health problems, including shock and grief, and longer-term issues like PTSD, depression, and anxiety due to the loss of victims, homes, businesses, and interrupted routines in people's lives. Along with mental health issues, lifestyle changes and environmental changes occur, including increased risk of communicable diseases, food shortages, hygienic impacts from lost medicine, destroyed infrastructure including hospitals, roads, water lines and gas lines, and sudden and long-term economic damage. This, coupled with power outages, missing shelter, food, water, and the lack of basic medical infrastructure, can dissolve entire communities. Life for these individuals, as they know it, ceases to exist. Robin lost her home when an EF2 tornado struck Rolling Prairie, Indiana in 2003. This is her story.
I was kind of on the lookout as I was driving home, and I tried to pull into the driveway and I couldn't. I counted over 23 trees, parked my car, and I walked to the house, and I went in and I looked up and all I saw was stars. Well, first of all, I was really, really upset because I found one of my cats, but I couldn't find the other cat, and it really made me nervous. My first instinct was to pick them up, get them in the car, and leave because I didn't know how the structure was safe or not. Support, just the emotional support of going through a trauma like that. You don't realize what a trauma it is until the next storm pops up and you find yourself like shaking and looking for clouds. And when the tornado warnings go off, you take them seriously. Just use somebody to say it's gonna be okay, here, I'll help you. I'm still very scared of lightning, and when a storm is coming through, or if I see big black clouds, I can just feel my heart just pounding like that. A good support system, but if I hadn't had a good support system, I don't know what I would have done. I think about people that wouldn't have had that support, and that's the kind of work that I do now. So I think maybe that might have affected why I chose to be more in a social service field.
Culture influences experiences of natural disasters such as coping, adaptational approaches, and beliefs towards aid and mental health support. Shame, fear of discrimination, stigma, and pride play a role in health-seeking behaviors in the aftermath of disaster. Additionally, research shows racial and geographic disparities in disaster response. Individuals with disabilities are disproportionately affected in disasters and emergencies due to inaccessible facilities and evacuation planning. Additionally, members of the LGBTQ+ community face discrimination. Emergency acts neglect to mention sexual orientation and gender identity, leaving these populations vulnerable in federally supported disaster relief programs. These points speak to how crucial cultural humility is in addressing the traumatic impacts of natural disasters.
Occupational therapists are in a unique position to help with disaster preparedness, physical rehabilitation, and mental health when it comes to natural disasters. Occupational therapists can provide mental health services in shelters, schools, or community centers as part of a disaster response team. OTs will work to assist individuals process their reactions and emotions by providing interventions targeting recovery and restoration of psychological and social functioning to prevent acute stress reactions and disaster-related mental health problems, such as PTSD, depression, or substance abuse.
OTs have been part of disaster mental health teams that have been employed to areas affected by natural disasters. After Hurricane Katrina, an OT was part of a FEMA disaster mental health team. The team worked with first responders, caregivers, and service providers who had witnessed traumatic events or experienced loss during and after the hurricane. Following the 2004 tsunami in the Indian Ocean, the World Federation of Occupational Therapy released a disaster preparedness and risk reduction manual. This has sparked an ongoing effort to continue to publish these and call OTs to action as the years have gone on and climate disasters have continued to occur. This manual talks about how OTs can play roles in disaster management at the personal, community, and international or policy level. Examples of OTs' role at these levels include practicing disaster preparedness, developing emergency plans, prioritizing accessibility during evacuations, working with national or international organizations, and working with budgeting allocation for disaster management programs. WFOT states that OTs should be involved in disaster preparedness and risk reduction because disaster risk reduction strategies should be rights-based, equitable, people-centered, and environmentally sustainable.